Today, I open the connection to the energy of work, money, and communication. Let's see what frequency flows through me today. My name is Gail. I am the energy-led woman. These are my video diaries where I tune in to the frequency around me, within me, and direct it towards a certain life topic, and just allow myself to just speak what comes through, speak what is on my mind, speak what comes from my G center. I am a self-projected projector by human design, and so this projection helps me to see the truth, to make decisions, and to kind of see my pathway forwards. As a self-projected projector, as I chat through this, as I riff, as I see things and share things, you will feel an activation of energy. Maybe that activation is one that of interest and intrigue and you want to know more. Maybe that activation is absolutely not. She doesn't know what she's talking about. That's absolutely fine. Because when you're shown those two energies, you can correctly navigate this topic too. So, this is the first video that I have structured in this way. And it might take me a while to just tune into it, but I'm literally going to riff on work, money, and communication. I'm going to use the energy that's around us right now. So we're active in the quarter of civilization in the human design year. What that is all about setting the foundations, laying the foundations, working on our routines, our processes, our systems, the blueprint of life, of how life needs to be so that we can become who we are meant to become during this year. So that is the quarter that we're in. So that is a 3-month quarter. And currently we're in the gate of the gatherer, or the gate of the king or queen. You are the keeper of your realm. You decide what stays, what goes. Build a world that feels aligned, sustainable, and free. Interesting. So when we bring that into the energy of work, the energy of money, and the energy of communication, where shall we start? Shall we start with, I feel like money is the kind of place to start right now. And money is such an interesting topic, because when we are born into this life, this society, we very, very quickly realize that we have to earn, or we have to deserve money in some way, shape, or form. And I find that very interesting, or should I say, people on my level learned that pretty quickly. Learned that if you wanted a good job, if you wanted money, you need a good job, you need to work hard, you need to follow the rules, you need to be a good girl, you need to do all the things to get to the point of, a reasonable level of money. Now, just to flick that slightly, there are people who are born into this world, into a family that already has a lot of abundance, wealth around them, abundance energy around their wealth, okay? And that person will grow up with completely different beliefs to the beliefs of the person who grows up kind of my level, if you like. Now, that person grows up with a lot of beliefs of, this just comes to me, okay? I can ask for whatever I want and I will receive it, okay? I am worthy of it. There's a lot of energy around that, around someone who is kind of born into a family that already has a lot of wealth abundance. Comparably, the person who is born into a lower level of wealth is told you've got to work hard, you've got to do the right things, you've got to get a good job, you've got to learn at school, you've got to be a good girl, you've got to do all these things so that you are worthy of a level of abundance that doesn't match this at all, you know? And I was thinking about this a lot yesterday, actually. So we went on a little bit of a day trip out, and we went to kind of like Lady Bower Reservoir, which is kind of between Huddersfield and Manchester. And we just went for a wander. And on the way home, we took some country lanes home, country roads home. And some of the houses were huge. They were amazing. Some of the houses were just amazing. And it got me to thinking about someone who, like, you know, who would live in a house like this? And I got to thinking about like footballers and things like that. Now, footballers, their wealth level is so far detached from like my wealth level that it would be really hard for me to even imagine the living in that abundance frequency on that wealth level. So let's say I'm down here and a footballer, let's say, I mean, I can't think of a kind of like a fee at the moment, but it's like thousands a week, right? Probably even millions a week. I can't even remember. But, you know, let's say you're a footballer and you're on like, I don't know, 40,000. Maybe more. I don't even know. I should have researched this before I came on. But let's say your take-home earnings, right, is 50,000 a week, right? A lot of people can't even imagine what life might be like when you're earning £50,000 a week, right? Yeah, it is true for some people out there. It is true for these footballers. It is something that it's there, it's in our reality. But because we are down on this frequency down here, where we maybe earn 50,000 a year, that transition from knowing how it feels and living on the frequency of this to knowing how it feels and living on a frequency of this is so far removed that it's really hard to understand how you go from there to there, or from a frequential perspective. I've got a bit of hair and it just keeps catching on my eyelashes. It's annoying me. So I was very aware of this yesterday. So it's really interesting that, you know, the first one of these is kind of landing with that, because what you believe frequentially, energetically, is where you are. So if you can take yourself to a place of feeling what it would feel like to be in a life of 50,000 a week, the universe starts to move to give you that. So, what frequency are you living on now as far as your wealth is concerned? What frequency am I living on as far as my wealth is concerned? So I think it's hard to think in numbers, and that's where I'm at. So what I kind of find is I often work on a scale of enoughness. Okay, so do you not have enough? Are you in a frequency of I don't have enough? You know, are you finding that you're getting to the end of the month and money's disappeared before you've reached the end of the month? Are you on not enough? I don't have enough. I don't have enough to live the life that I currently live. Everything runs out towards the end of the month. I never have enough to carry over to the next month. Are you in not enoughness? The next level of the scale is enoughness. You know, is your wealth frequency matching the life that you're living? And you're happily getting through the month. You might be putting a tiny amount into savings, but you're happily getting through the month without any real issues. You've got enough. Okay? Then you've got more than enough. Okay? More than enough is I'm easily living the life that I desire, and I'm easily ending up with a buffer at the end of the month. That's more than enough. I'm maybe putting stuff into savings. I'm building up a little bank of more than enough, because I'm easily living my lifestyle within the funds that are coming in, the wealth energy. And then of course you've got different levels of that and how high up that goes. But I think starting there is a real kind of key piece. And if you are in not enough, getting into an energy of enough is so much easier than imagining getting X number of money, X number of pounds, whatever. So I'm sat in between the two at the moment. I'm not open to allowing more in, or I'm not actively working on my frequency to allow more in, but I am I know that I live on a frequency of enough, which is whatever happens in my life, whatever I want in my life, I have enough money. So currently we are able to book holidays that we want to go on and afford them. This isn't necessarily a savings situation. I'll explain that. So we can book holidays, we can go on them. We can do the things that we want to do in our everyday life, and the money is there to support that. So I will give you an example. We are needing to repair our house, and we need a certain amount of money, and that figure is pretty much there. I pretty much know what it's going to be. So I've got a figure that we're going to have to fund. It's going to have to come out of some money somewhere, and I get a bonus at work that covers it. Right? It's not necessarily that I can foresee that I've got the money coming in to cover the things. It's that I trust that it is there when I get to that point. I trust that when I next want to go on holiday, that the money will be there when I need to pay for it. I trust it. I am in enoughness. I have enough money to do whatever it is that I need to do, whether it's repairs to my house, whether it's going on holiday, whether it's enjoying a meal out, whether it's maybe I have a month where I don't want to do anything. I've got enough money for that. I've got enough money. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And I've recently been thinking about the level of acceptance that comes with that, and what that acceptance actually creates in my life. Because by accepting, shall we say settling? I don't know if settling is the right word. By accepting that level of enoughness, it's also not expanding, and it's not growing, and it's not taking me to the next level, if that makes sense. You know, and is there a next level? Do I want a higher level than this? So there is a lot of stuff that I'm kind of thinking about financially at the moment, and what that looks like for me, and feeling into that. So financially, enoughness, you know? And I think when you want to talk about money and finances and wealth, there are other areas that impact that. Time, work, family circumstances, family responsibilities. There are things that you can riff on, or that you could riff on, I could riff on around this, but I don't feel drawn. Time is a really important one to riff on, because when we're in a mindset of we have to earn or deserve the money before it will come into us, then oftentimes we think we need more time in the day. So, maybe you've got a 9-to-5 job, and maybe you are planning a little side hustle in the background, but you've got your family to look after. You want your downtime. You want this, you want that, you want the other. So time is a really critical piece of that. Now, when you are limiting yourself to only being able to earn and deserve money, you need more hours in the day. What if you were able to just remove those limitations and allow yourself to just be worthy of money, and worthy of an easy life, and worthy of enoughness, without actually needing to earn and deserve it? Which then takes us on to this other point, which if you are in a zone of I live in enoughness, and I don't need to earn and deserve enoughness, then where does that take you into a work perspective? Currently, we see the two as interdependent. I work, I earn. I work, I deserve, I earn. I work, I deserve, I earn, I receive. That's the pathway that we tend to go on. I work, I earn, I deserve, I receive. Okay? 4 steps. If you disconnect the two and you have I earn, and you have I receive, and you have I work, and they're not interdependent, what does work look like? So work becomes something that has to fulfill you, that has to support the life that you are living from other ways other than financially. It has to be fulfilling. It has to be something that you enjoy. It has to be something that makes you feel like you've got purpose. It has to be something that's collaborative, contribution. These are words that are coming up for me. Collaborative, contribution, connection, fulfillment, joy, happiness. It's got to bring something into your life, right? Not just money. Because we've dealt with the money over here frequentially. So now this becomes, how can I get the most joy out of spending my time in this place? What is it that I want to do with the majority of my day? And just in the same way as we can change when we change the frequency of this, of how we receive and what we receive, the universe starts to match into that. The same thing happens with this. So when we start laying it out there that actually our job is there to fulfill us and to support us in all these other ways and to help us be collaborative and to contribute to society and all these other things that make us feel like we've got a purpose, then guess what? The universe begins to shift to bring that into your life too. So right now, if you're in the zone of, I hate my job, but I have to work to earn money so that I can live my life, then you are really caught up in really kind of like limiting frequencies. If you can step into this detachment, I am worthy of enough in my life. I don't need to know where it's coming from. I don't need to know how it's getting here. I just trust that it's going to be there. And I work and I get joy out of my work and I get fulfillment and I get purpose and I love my job because of that. That starts to become the job that you love. That starts to be the money that you want. And everything kind of like rolls out. Told you I keep getting a hair on my eyelash. Trying to tuck it behind my ear. So, build a world that feels aligned, sustainable, and free. Aligned basically means it feels good, you're in flow. Sustainable, something you can easily keep on top of. Keep on top of. Sustainable, something that happens, something that doesn't, it doesn't take you to breaking point. You're not in survival mode. And free. You're free to go on this pathway, go on that pathway. You're free to choose. You're free to give your energy to this place where you can collaborate and contribute to society. And communication. I don't know if I'm one to speak about communication because I'm just a weirdo because I'm a self-projected projector. So everything about me is about communication. This video is me communicating. It's communicating my experiences, my story, my identity, what I believe. It's communicating that out into the world. and creating a ripple. And when I create a ripple, ripples go out there and then they come back to us, right? So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not feeling communication. I'm not feeling open to talking about that right now. Frequencies, communication, frequencies. How's my throat chakra? Is my throat chakra open? My throat chakra is always open. I am always ready to speak. Sometimes I hold it back for whatever reason because I don't find the time or the opportunity, but my throat chakra is always active, always, always, always. So it's really difficult for me to speak about communication, or I'm feeling it difficult today. Because I can't put it into words because it's just normal, it's just me, it's just who I am. Maybe if you've got a undefined throat chakra, maybe there's something there, but mine's very defined. Self-Projected Projector, G center, 2 throat chakra, out it comes. I think the point being of today's flow is to talk about, well, it's always to talk about the frequency that you're in. Because, and when I talk about the frequency, to just be really clear, it isn't what you say, it isn't what you do, it's the energy, the feeling within which you're saying and doing it. So you could say into the mirror every morning your affirmations, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. But you can say it until you're blue in the face, particularly if in the back of your mind, if every time you say it, there's a little voice that goes, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. You've got to feel it. And this is a piece that's coming through for me really, really strongly at the moment, and it's in every area. You've got to tune into the frequency before you start the doing. Because if you don't tune into the frequency and you just start doing, it's going to be really hard. Don't get me wrong, you potentially will end up in the frequency because of the doing of it. But for me, it's got to be frequency first. So if I want to be in the level of the 50,000 a year level, then I've got to really use my imagination. Your imagination is such a powerful tool. I've got to really use my imagination and imagine what it feels like. Come up with like a little story in my head of what that feels like, of a situation that I'm in maybe where, that really shows up. How does it feel? Am I grateful? Do I even notice it? Or am I so immune to this level of money that I don't even notice it, Is it a case of, I've got a couple of days off work and I can literally just fly to Dubai or wherever, just because I can, just because I want to, just because that's what I've chosen to do. I'm feeling a bit tired. I want some sunshine. Using the imagination to generate a frequency, holding that frequency. This is the powerful piece that most of us miss. And this is not new knowledge for me. This is nowhere near new knowledge for me. But what it is a piece that I put down often to live my life. Because work's too busy, because life's too busy, because there's this going on, there's that going on. So it's a piece that I put down often. And it isn't serving me to put it down often. And that is what's coming through a lot in all different areas at the moment. So I think this is the quarter of civilization showing up for me, because it's showing me the blueprint to how to live my life based on all the experimenting, all the knowledge, all the things that I've learned since I've taken this path. So the 7-year cycles, when you hit 49, it's all about embodiment. So up until that point, I can't remember all the different cycles, but you know, you're experimenting, you're trying things out, you're working things out, and then 49, it's like, right, you're here, embody it all, bring it all into your life. And that's certainly where I'm at and what I'm feeling at the moment. So, I feel like I've run out of things to say, which generally means I'm done. I'm going to start to get into this habit of having this discussion around these different areas because it helps me to think them through. And it helps me to have a structure in place that I touch on every area of my life in a week so that I'm hitting them. I'm thinking about them. I'm having my time to reflect. For me, where I go from here now, I need to make sure my throat chakra is balanced, so I will do some throat chakra work. I will then do some scripting, some writing, some imagining. How do I want work to feel? How do I want money to feel? How do I want communication to feel? Because that is how you tune into the frequency of things. I don't focus too much on what's the reality right now. I don't focus too much on, oh, but this is the way that I am feeling, because I don't want to focus in on how I'm feeling right now. What I want to focus in on is how I want to feel, because I'm not someone who feels like I need to go into the past. My whole incarnation cross tells me I'm all about the present. I don't need to go and correct what's done or fix it or heal it. I just need to switch it. So that's where I go from here. Interesting. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I hope you found some little pieces of activations in that where you've kind of gone, oh, that's an interesting perspective. Or maybe you've gone, what a load of crap. Whatever. It's giving you a direction. It's like telling you, hot and cold, follow this route, don't follow this route, you know? Follow what she's saying, go find out a little bit more. Do not go down this route, it is not for you, you know? Or, and if you're getting the do not, I would like you to just ask yourself what beliefs are meaning, what beliefs are stopping you resonating with what I'm saying, because potentially they are a doorway that you need to open. Because triggers don't just tell us this thing is not aligning with me. It tells us there's something that's stopping this alignment. What is that? And is it real for me? Is it true? Do I want to hold this gateway here? Do I want to hold this boundary? Or do I want to release it and make life easier? Only you know that. Only you know that. Cool. Right. I will see you tomorrow, Thursday tomorrow. I will let you know our chat theme. When I join, when I chat, when I do it. So cool. I'm going to go listen to this back and hear what truths came through for me.